Welcome back to the Jordan Lene Show, where we really go behind the brand, behind the highlight reels, and into the raw, real stories of purpose-driven entrepreneurs building from grit, faith, and full alignment. I'm your host, Jordan Lene, and for 15 years, I have been an entrepreneur, a speaker, a mindset coach, a business strategist, really helping leaders scale to 10 to $100,000 days with my Catalyst offers system and freedom at the core. And today's episode, we are so excited to bring Curtis on. Curtis is an entrepreneur who built a thriving 7-figure business only to have it completely destroyed by the war in Pakistan. But instead of quitting, Curtis made the most powerful investment of all in himself through grit, skill building, and relentless focus on the work. He came back stronger and now teaches how to do the same for others, starting with what he calls the knockout offers. If you're in a season of rebuilding, this episode will shift your mindset, strengthen your strategy, and show you what's truly possible. So excited to have you on the show today, Curtis. Yes, so really getting started in talking about that big, huge life challenge that you walked through and how it really shifted your path as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, it was a challenging time because I've gone through cycles like this before where I was building a business, it fell apart. This is probably cycle number 2 or 3. And the cool thing about it is you never truly start over. The first time you start, that's the only time you're starting with nothing.
Yeah.
And every single time you have to start over after that, you're starting with an experience, and you can typically move farther faster because of the experience you gained along the way. This morning I was kind of struck with, I don't know, a memory of whenever I was in that dark spot after the business fell apart for like the 3rd time, and I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, I'm starting over again. And I had to remind myself that like I'm not starting over. And so I actually wrote this post. I'm going to read it real quick. If I can find
Yes.
it. It says, if you're experiencing a setback or tragedy, reframe it. Every hero has a tragic backstory, so how you react will determine whether you die a victim or become the hero. And I saved that on my phone and inside of like my highlights in a like for me section, because it's something that even I have to remind myself of. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be like a full-blown disaster, right? Because often people say like tragedies or accidents come in threes. And really what happens is you have one, and then because you reacted to that one a specific way, it led to number 2 and number 3. If you actually just choose from the get-go, like, nope, this is what about this happening would have to be amazing for it to be part of my hero's journey whenever I do make it to the other side. And just start there rather than letting it drag you down a dark path. So it's even just the little incidents. It's making the right decision to move forward rather than feeling bad for yourself some of the time. Like, don't get me wrong, you gotta feel bad for yourself sometimes, but it's not exactly, it doesn't move you forward. It's not productive. And one of the things that I've found that's allowed me, one of the lessons I've learned from these failures is the sooner you can take action rather than thinking about taking action, the faster you will move and the further you will go. So I've been trying to do as much as I possibly can to eliminate that time to decide step, because actually taking action takes so much less time than what most people spend deciding to take action.
So good. That's fire sauce. That is definitely something you want to watch back multiple times. It's really taking the action. So I love that you shared that. A lot of entrepreneurs want to start with the decide, but yours is really take action and take it quick and fast, so you don't even have time to think about it. That's a huge step in being an entrepreneur, just getting stuck in that thinking phase and perfectionism, and instead taking the action to move fast.
Yes.
So really in that season, your impact, how did that really impact your identity? Like who you became back 5 years, kind of looking at your identity, not just as a business owner, but as a human.
So if I look back 5 years ago, I've had multiple identity shifts through that time. 5 years ago, I would have been like, I am an aspiring entrepreneur. Even though like I was already doing business things at that point, I didn't personally feel like I was established and had done something that would be like, oh yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. Like I still was under the mindset of like, no, like I'm a guy who's working a full-time job and doing my business part-time. For this agency, when it finally took off, that mindset shifted. I went from I'm a full-time employee and a part-time business owner to I'm a full-time business owner and my day job, they're just my current highest paying client. And eventually they weren't even my highest paying client. So that was a huge mindset shift from employee to like, nope, entrepreneur. Then after this collapse, that took a huge toll on me. It was like huge identity crisis for a few minutes there where Curtis was like, son of a, I'm not an entrepreneur. Like I just literally lost everything. And then I realized I was like, no, like most entrepreneurs lose everything at some point. That's just part of the journey. I'm still an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And whether I let this drag me down or take this next step is up to me. I realized in order to get myself out of that hole, I needed something outside of myself to get me moving. And it wasn't necessarily like I needed external motivation. I needed something bigger than myself that I believed in so that I could hold on to that and use that as leverage to get me back in motion. So the first thing I did after the collapse is I decided to get like absolute clarity on who I was helping, why, and what's the result I'm trying to help them provide. And to figure that out, I started with the big picture. Whether you love or hate Elon Musk, there's one thing that he does extremely well, and is he paints a very vivid, big picture. For example, like SpaceX, we know that their big picture thing is Occupy Mars, for example, right? Has he actually done it yet? No. But look at everything he's accomplished trying to accomplish it. And it's because of that big vision that he attracts the right people and continues to strive in that direction. So I was like, what's my Occupy Mars? And I realized my Occupy Mars was to bring back the American dream for entrepreneurs. Because you just look at society right now. Layoffs happening everywhere. People are being forced out of jobs. And for the first time in American history, other than like the Great Depressions, there are more people leaving corporate and going into being entrepreneurs than ever before. And even the people that are in corporate, more of them are running side hustles than ever before because the living wages aren't matching with what the system has given us. So there's this, it's a broken system. The American dream as it currently stands is dead because it's not like it used to be where you could just work hard, put your money in savings, and a month's worth of your salary was enough to do a down payment on a house. Now it's like millennials were like, where's the money? Like we were sold this bill of health that like, oh, if we do these things, here's your roadmap. You'll get to this gold chest at the end. And we opened up the gold chest and there was no money inside. There was like 2 coins. And then Gen Z, I was like talking to one the other day and they were like, where's the money? Because like, I didn't realize how money has been degrading generation after generation. A lot of Gen Z people don't even see their money because the money goes from their owner, like whoever's paying them, to their bank account to immediately paying bills. So then they never actually touch their own money. If a business owner went to them and said like, hey, I'll provide you housing, 3 meals a day, and transportation, there would be literally no difference because they don't get a chance to touch their money. And that's broken in my mind. And the only way that I've been able to see people get out of that is by helping them figure out how to generate value rather than being an employee. And with the evolution of AI, this has only become easier to set out on your own. And it has only caused corporations to look at it from a point of view of like, well, if I can save this much money, even if I do have a slight decrease in performance, the amount of money I get back in revenue outweighs it. So I'm obviously going to go with AI, which is what's leading to all these massive layoffs. And it was kind of like that realization where I was like, that's my Occupy Mars, is create the new American dream, because the old American dream is dead. My first step in doing that is basically, well, entrepreneurs and business owners, 90% of them fail in the first however many years. And the difference between the ones that fail and don't, roughly 80% of the people who fail in their business, it's not because of like a war took your business down like mine did. 80% of them are because of cash flow problems. And like you can just go Google it, like why do most businesses fail? They'll be like, well, 80% of them fail due to cash flow issues. And that's the first problem I have to help people solve, because if we can solve that it reduces the number of business owners that get in and immediately fail because they just don't have a good business model. So that's my current directive, and the current way I'm trying to address that is with knockout offers. Is how do you actually create an offer structure for your business that allows you to go from low ticket to high ticket, or just go straight to high ticket with high margins and high revenue, so that you have a basis to build everything.
So good. You are such a numbers guy. That's why we just have conversations and I just tell you all the time. Some of your conversations that we have are, yes, talk more about that. That's just kind of, you're so good at really defining everything and the steps of everything, and kind of going into your process of the knockout offers and how you got there. Yeah.
So knockout offers originated from the agency. So one of the key issues inside of my agency that I was helping my customers with was obviously lead generation. Well, what we found out inside of lead generation is 90% of the time wasn't necessarily their process for generating leads. It was that their offer was terrible, or that their offer wasn't compelling. So they just weren't getting a high enough click-through rate. They weren't getting a high enough opt-in. There were these signals that basically in their system they saw and just ignored. And then they complained about not having enough leads, when in reality, it wasn't a leads issue, it was an offer problem. So in order to help them fix that, I ended up having to write hundreds of different offers for clients. And during that process of helping them figure out, like, what are the offers that are for holistic health and wellness, for relationships, for business coaches, for all these different niches that actually work, plumbers even, med spas, like,
Yeah.
what are the offers that actually work and convert, and how do they work? And after writing so many of these, I eventually just kind of discovered I had a process. Like, I was like, oh, like, all of these have these things in common. What if I start making offers that just start with this and see if it works? I simplified it like that, and was just like, cool, I just need offers that have these things, put it out there, they work. And that's why I call it kind of like a knockout offer. It's an offer that actually sells. It's the difference between a fighter with weighted ankle weights on that's slowing him down, fighting a fighter like Muhammad Ali, who like floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee, like he's too fast, you're too slow. And all that other junk in your offer is what's slowing you down. It's tying you down in fulfillment. It's tying up all of your time. It's causing it to be extremely overwhelming, because you're just like, I have to provide so much stuff just to get people to pay me so little, that people don't realize that, like, if you just took what all the things that you did and found out, like, oh, it's like this, and this that are the most valuable things that people love, distill it down to that and then present it, it's easier to sell and people will pay more for it. And you're actually doing less.
So you're basically saying, and that's something with being an entrepreneur, you have so many things that you want to give. And so you're basically saying that even though you have all these things, really structure it down to one thing that has the multiple steps.
Yes. Not even necessarily one thing that has multiple steps. Like, it's a way that I explain it. It's easier to sell someone something that they want than to convince them they want something new. So if you can just give people what they want, sell them what they want, it will be significantly easier, more profitable, and faster. Now, if you just give people exactly what they want, you end up typically being more of a commodity, which we also don't want, because then you have to fight on prices.
Yes.
So it's about finding the thing that people want, and then finding what's your differentiating factor. What makes this unique in the market that makes it to where only you can provide this specific thing? And as soon as you have, this is what people want, and this is why I'm the only person who can provide you this version of it, you're in a market of one. No one can compete with you, so you can charge whatever you want, and because you're giving people exactly what they want, and they see that you're only the only person that can give it to them this way, the way they want it, they have no other choice. So it's an offer that people literally can't say no to. Because they're like, I need this, I want this, and you're the only person who has it, so what other choice do I have?
So good. Yeah. Yeah, it's really finding that the secret sauce and creating that into your knockout fire.
And I don't like using the words like secret sauce, because it's like, it keeps it very mystified, right? Like you said, I'm a very analytical, numbers-driven person, and I think a lot of people mystify business by claiming it's business. And I can tell you that I've helped executive assistants, people who do custom apparel, marketing agencies, med spas, plumbers, online coaches. If you can just look at the numbers, just look at the data, and make decisions based off of the facts, you will be surprised how easy business actually is if you're willing to just do a little bit of math. And it's not even hard math. We're not even talking algebra. We're just talking like addition and subtraction most of the time. Maybe division occasionally.
Yeah.
And if you're doing really well, multiplication. But like, that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's business is math. And if people stop mystifying it by saying like business is hard, well, I mean, the math that I do that helps people 10x their business within a matter of months is typically math that my daughter could do, and she's in kindergarten. It's like, yes, when 1 + 3 = 4, you 4x your business. Like you said, the secret sauce is that there is no secret sauce. It's that it's hiding in plain sight.
So good. So good. Now getting a little bit back into like the impact that you have really generated with being in business, just talking about the powerful truth of entrepreneurship. And we kind of talked a little bit about that secret sauce and that whole, I want to hear like the powerful truth of really being an entrepreneur, just the investment, the skills that it really takes.
So
really going into the business ownership, the seasons of impact, identity.
Okay, I'm gonna take this a slightly different way. I'm gonna answer it in pieces.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I think I heard is like, what are the skills for successfully running a business? And there's a lot of skills. So I'm gonna bundle them into 3 categories. So for a business to function, fundamentally needs 3 different things. It needs a way to bring people in to get attention and get them to give you money, right? That's the number one thing. You have to have that, otherwise you literally have nothing. The next thing is, whatever you're giving them in exchange for that money, you need a way to deliver that. And the last thing is, you need a customer retention okay, so middle ground is fulfillment, right? Then we've got like marketing and sales is number 1. Number 2 is fulfillment, is kind of that middle ground's operations. And then the last piece is kind of, I call it tech, even though it's not necessarily tech, it's more like data. Because in order for you to grow your business, you can either go with a gut feeling and make decisions based off of that, which means you're rolling the dice based off of your past experiences, whether you've been a successful business owner or not. Your gut may or may not send you in the right direction. But if you have the data, regardless of what your gut tells you, the data doesn't lie. So you need a process in place to collect that data. And what I find in most small business owners is they focus so much on 1 and 2 that they never figure out bucket 3. And because they never figure out bucket 3, they feel like they don't know what to do and they're stuck. And it's not that you're stuck, it's that you don't have enough information to make a decision. And bucket 3 is where you get that information.
Perfect. So good. So good. What is some advice that you would give an entrepreneur that is stuck in the messy, in the middle, in the in-between, in a hard time, a hard season, that is feeling like giving up?
So first off, if you're stuck and you're like at that point, you're like, man, I'm about to just give up, like something's got to change, or I can't make it, ask yourself, if I succeed, is this all going to be worth it? Because in the Rocky movies, the Rocky cutscene where he's like working out and whatnot lasts a couple of minutes. In reality, your Rocky cutscene, which if that's the way you're feeling, is like you're feeling like you can't make it, you're quit, you're worn out. You're in the middle of your Rocky cutscene. That Rocky cutscene could last months or even years. The thing is, you don't know when it'll end. And you could quite literally be giving up right before the cutscene ends. Because often, like I said, it's a lack of information to make the right decision. And as soon as you find the information, it's like you were never stuck.
Yeah.
You're just like, I just didn't even see this path because I didn't know it existed. Now that I have this information, I can very easily just say, duh, I should have done this from the beginning.
So good. So what is one definition that you would leave our audience with today? Something like a statement that you really live by. I know you had talked about the dream, the American dream.
That's like the vision, though. That's not really like a statement. But like for lack of a better term, my culture code.
Yeah.
So this is the culture code I used inside of my agency that helped a lot. up until it just fell apart out of a blind spot, basically. Now that I know what that blind spot is and know to avoid it in the future, but it was a blind spot at the time. I didn't know it was a problem until it was. Culture code that helped immensely in both business, personal, and customer relationships is state the facts and tell the truth. Because if you state the facts, it means that you have to have the data in order to state the facts. People can't argue with you whenever you're just like, nope, like literally 10 people clicked this button, here's the data that proves it. You can't argue that one person clicked it or that 100 people clicked it. The data quite literally tells you how many. You can't argue with facts. I mean, people can, but those aren't the people you want to talk with anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you state the facts and then tell the truth that's backed up by those facts, once again, it's really hard to argue with. It's also impossible if you tell yourself the truth, other people the truth. Marketing becomes easy because you don't have to put on a facade, right? You just look at, as soon as my business fell apart, I was on my YouTube channel, Instagram, being like, look, my agency, it was multi-seven figures, it fell apart thanks to this thing over here, and you know what? It happened. And I can either let it tear me down or I can pick myself back up and keep going. And that's exactly what I did, is I launched the Knockout Offer Masterclass and was able to pull a $210,000 day out of it. So really it's like the tragedy that you're in, how you react to it. Do you want to be the victim or do you want to turn into a hero? And it's your choice. Ultimately, know that. It's your choice.
So good. If you want to go deeper with Curtis, you're in luck. He's giving you free access to his Knockout Offer Masterclass with a bonus bundle. Visit knockoutoffer.com. Use the code YTFree at checkout to grab the Knockout Offer Masterclass, a swipe file of his highest converting offers, and the full offer workbook completely free. Curtis, thank you so much for bringing your fire, your honesty, and your brilliance to the show today. Your story is just proof that even when everything falls apart, your future is never lost. It's just being rebuilt with deeper purpose. To our listeners, if you're in a season of setback or rebuild, let this episode remind you it's not over. You're not too late. You're not too far gone. Start with the work. The rest will follow. If the episode really lit something inside of you, screenshot it, tag at the Jordan Lene Show and Curtis, and share your biggest breakthroughs. And don't forget to subscribe, drop a review, and meet us right back here for the next week for another truth-filled conversation that will elevate your income, your identity, and your impact. Until next time, keep going, keep growing, and keep elevating.